All right, let's look at why this works. Other than the cognitive dissonance, I mean, cognitively, people know when they get some type of sales literature in the mail that you're trying to sell them something. There's no dissonance involved there. It's a sales letter with a sales brochure. You're trying to sell me something. However, cognitively, when the gatekeeper gets this and they look and they say, this doesn't look like a sales letter, that takes them into a state of dissonance. When they flip it over and it's an article that might be valuable to their boss, the chances of this getting through are huge. Let me reiterate some of the steps for this. Number one, make sure we staple our letter to the article. Number two, make sure the article is a valuable piece of information about them. Number three, do not include your business card. That then has, that doesn't have any dissonance associated with it, right? I mean, a business card is to do business. Your letterhead should say enough, okay? Number four, make sure that you have a letterhead attached to it. Number five, if you do not know that person, be formal. You know, dear Mr. Hobart, not dear buddy. If you say dear buddy, then I might find that to be a little manipulative. If you say dear Mr. Hobart, then I know that you don't really know me and you're being very sincere and you're trying to connect and give me some valuable information. So let's talk about why this works, okay? Those are the steps to making it happen. You're looking at these articles, you're passing them along. We're going to be working with you now on where do you find them and how do you do all that. But for now, you have these articles, you've passed them along. But let's look at it. The gatekeeper gets the article, she looks at it, she realizes that this has a little bit of dissonance. This isn't a standard sales approach. So she passes it into the boss. The boss gets it, comes back out and says, look, this is very creative. This person was trying to get in here a little bit. Very creative sales technique, but the next time it comes, just throw them away. I don't want to have anything to do with it. All right, so it's creative, but no. You're out 44 cents in your marketing budget. That's all. You're out 44 cents. So, you know, we're not going to be successful 1,000% of the time. We're looking for incremental opportunities to crack the door and get in. So that's one option. But let's look at what the other options are. One is the boss takes it, flips it again. We've all learned to handle a piece of paper once. So the boss flips that page. Your letterhead is still there and looks at that article. You know, green building sustainable construction concepts. That's something that might be interesting to that person. They flip it open, they set it on their desk. That is a major victory because you're on their desk. You're still alive. Your information is there. Your letterhead is there. That means that he knows somewhere in the back of his head, and I'm going to talk about why it's so important that you are somewhere in the back of his head, that you're alive, you're there. Second thing is, you know, sustainable construction practices, it looks at it, looks interesting, they read it. Now that becomes a major victory because now, not only are you somewhere back in the back of their head, maybe you've even moved a little bit to the front of their head, and you are proving that you know what to do. You understand their business. You can provide them with valuable knowledge. Remember, this person doesn't have enough time and they don't have enough knowledge. So you're providing them with valuable knowledge that they read and they thought, this is really interesting. The fourth possibility is that they've already read it. That's a major victory because now you are connecting with this person because they believe you think like them. That's a major victory. Now, let me tell you why it is critical that you're in the back of their mind and why this works in such a subtle yet powerful and very authentic way. And that is the human brain has this, about the size of your thumb, the reticular activating system, if you've ever heard of that. And what it is it's really the filter of your brain to let information in or to block information out. Once your reticular activating system is activated, you become much more aware of something or an individual or a service. So the point of the matter is, if your letter is set aside to be read later. If they read it or if they've already read it, you have activated this decision maker's reticular activating system, that you're a valuable resource. So when you connect with them, the next time that you call, which we're going to be talking about here in a moment, when you get to them, they'll already be thinking about it, and your likelihood of getting through into a positive conversation and appointment goes through the roof. Let me prove reticular activating. I'll give you two examples, okay? One is, have you ever maybe bought a new car, or a neighbor, or maybe one of your kids or something bought a new car? You never really paid any attention to this new model, ABC model. You never really paid any attention, but you know, your son or daughter, neighbor, maybe you bought this car. Now you're riding down the road and that's all you see. That's because you've activated your reticular activating system, and now you're aware of these vehicles that you had ignored before that. I'll tell you another one is you're at the airport, and you know, you're trying to catch up on some emails, so you're sitting there on your laptop, you're trying to catch up on some emails, and you know, I mean, there's babies crying and people arguing and announcements, flight change, gate change, you know, all this is going on, and you're just, you know, you're there, you're okay, and you're on flight, you know, 211 to Phoenix, and you're there and you're talking and all this noise is going around. All of a sudden there's an announcement, flight 211 to Phoenix has a gate change. Well, how did that get through? None of the other stuff, you didn't hear any, and it didn't come any louder, or it didn't say, hey buddy, flight 211 to Phoenix. It was simply flight 211. Your reticular activating system is open to that. So this knowledge-based sales process not only works because it brings that gatekeeper to a state of dissonance, where they pass that along because you might be different. Not only does it bring your decision maker to a state of dissonance because you're not being typical, it also activates the reticular activating system to be aware of you and what you might be able to provide, because you've already provided two of the most valuable things that exist. You've already provided them with knowledge, and you've already shown that you respect their time. One final piece about why this works. This is really critical, really, really critical. It links to every single one of the DISC styles. Every single one. The letter, short and sweet, and telling the decision maker about them and something that's important to them, resonates with high Ds. It's about me, it's short and sweet, to the point, and the article is about them. For high Is, it's a personal touch. That's not a cold letter that has pages and pages. It's short, it's personal, you thought about them individually, and again, sent them information about them. So it's personal, it resonates with high Is. Resonates with high S's because we're not asking them to change. You see, if you send somebody a sales brochure, what you are really telling them subliminally is that they need to change what they're doing now and consider buying or using your services or buying your product. So it's about change. One of the biggest fears is change. One of the biggest motivators of high S's is maintaining the status quo. So you providing them information is not asking them to change or to break in any way with the status quo. And finally, for high C's, the reason why this strategy works is it shows your depth of analysis. You get it. You're analytical. You understand what these decision makers are up against. You're respectful of their time. You've not violated their standards in any way. So not only does this work because of the concept called cognitive dissonance, not only does this work because you're activating that reticular activating system, it also works because this process resonates with each and every individual style. It flat works.